Hello and welcome to the Mount Hebron Mountain. My name is Nathan Acuna, your host for today's segment. Recently, college football has been a blast to watch with the conclusion of Championship Saturday on December 4th. So after championship weekend ended, the top four teams in the country were decided by the AP poll committee. Basically, the AP poll is the top 25 ranked teams in the country, and the top four teams out of those top 25 teams punch their ticket to the college football playoff, where they will compete for the national championship game.
So you're probably wondering, who are the four teams that will compete for the national championship? Coming out of the SEC are two powerhouse teams, the number one ranked Alabama Crimson Tide and the number three ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Alabama exposed what was considered to be one of the top defenses ever assembled in college football history, Georgia, who had only allowed 6.9 points per game leading up to the SEC championship game, in which the Crimson Tide stormed their way to a 41-24 victory over the Bulldogs. Coming out of the Big Ten is an unlikely yet dominant team who caught fire in previous weeks, the number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines. They absolutely dominated the number 12 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes in the Big Ten championship game by the score of 42-3. The Hawkeyes were major underdogs, but nobody thought it was going to be as much of a blowout as it was. Michigan has received a ton of attention after upsetting the previously ranked number 2 Ohio State in college football's most anticipated game this season on Saturday, November 7th. On a snowy day at Ann Arbor, Michigan defeated the Buckeyes 42-27. And lastly, the fourth and final seed heading into the college football playoff are the Cincinnati Bearcats. Although they're not as big as other schools mentioned previously, it would have been a crime to exclude them from such an opportunity to bring home a national title. The Bearcats, despite being the number 4 seed, the lowest in the college football playoff, are 13-0 and the only undefeated squad heading into the games. So now that all the pieces are in place, we must sit here and wait till New Year's Eve to catch number 4 Cincinnati battle number 1 Alabama and number 3 Georgia take on number 2 Michigan.
I asked some people who are excited about this year's college football playoff their opinions and predictions for how this year's tournament will unfold.
Who do you think is going to win it all, and what makes you believe they are built to bring home a national championship?
Alabama's going to win it all. I mean, there's no question about it. And what I would believe that because they've done it before. They did it last year. They have one of the best QBs in the nation in Bryce Young, Heisman candidate. Um, yeah, great receivers. They're coached by Nick Saban, who's the GOAT of college football. I mean, you can't get any better. And not only that, but they just beat Georgia, who was the number one team in the country at the time. They just beat them last week. So uh, I I have there's no doubt in my mind that Alabama will win the national championship this year.
If there's any team you think has the worst shot of winning the national championship, who would it be and why?
Cincinnati. Why? Because they play Alabama the first game. I mean, they're gonna lose. I know. I like Cincinnati. I'm happy that they made the college football playoff. It's good for a non-power five team to make it. First team ever, I believe. But they play Alabama. I'm not sure if they're gonna get absolutely killed, but they're gonna get killed. I mean, their only good win this year, I think, was against like Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's a good team, but Alabama's a whole different level. I think Cincinnati's uh, not gonna make it past the first game. And then the other two teams, Georgia and Michigan, I think whichever team wins that game, I think could put up possibly a good fight against Alabama, or at least keep it close for the first few quarters. Um, but yeah, Cincinnati's not making it past the first game. They easily have the worst chance.
Do you think there's a possibility we see some upsets this year?
Yeah, I definitely do. Michigan, they're coming into the playoffs hot. They had a really impressive win over Ohio State for the first time in years, and then they dominated Iowa in the Big Ten championship. So I think the momentum could help them defeat Georgia. Um, with Cincinnati, I don't, I don't think there's as good of a chance as them beating Alabama as opposed to Michigan over Georgia, but they did beat Notre Dame, which is a very good team, and I think Cincinnati's going to make it competitive regardless.
So, who is your final pick to win it all?
I got Michigan. They're coming in on fire. They haven't lost since their heartbreaking loss to Michigan State, and I just think they have the most to prove. They've been doing it the past 5, 6 games, and I think they're going to do it again.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's segment. Make sure you check out the games on New Year's Eve and the national championship on January 10th. And that's just about it.